Hello, children. A very good morning and welcome to our social science class today. And today we will be revising civics, civics, chapter 3, the state government. Okay, children. Now, the state government means all the states, they have their separate administration. So, about their administration, about their powers and functions, we are going to learn in this chapter. So first of all, our constitution describes India a union of states. This is what we are going to learn. Our constitution describes India a union of states. So why is it so, children? It is that because of this reason that India has so many group of states. Okay, children. So now the federation is a union. Federation is a union. And federation means a group of states with a central government. Okay, children. Now this means a number of self-governing states which are joined together under a central government. Okay, children. So this is the reason that our constitution describes India a union of states. Okay, children. So all the states are joined together. And our country, India, is an integral whole, all together one, and divided into different states. Why, children? Why it is divided into different states? There's only one reason. Only for the convenience of administration. Okay, children. Only for the convenience of administration. As I told you, we are going to learn about the administration of the state government, their powers and functions. So for this reason, for the convenience of administration, so many different states we have, but all the states are together joined under a central government. Okay. So how many states we have, children? We have 28 states and 8 union territories. Okay, children. So now I'll be sharing the screen and you can follow. And before that, I must tell you one more important point. That is, we have adopted parliamentary form of government. These are the two most important points here. Our constitution describes India a union of states. Why? I have given you the answer. And now we have one more part question. We have adopted parliamentary form of government. So now, what is parliamentary form of government, children? You have learned in the previous chapter of civics, but I will be revising and explaining it to you again. That is, in a parliamentary form of government, the executives means the body which implements laws and runs the administration of the country. These are who? Executives. So in a parliamentary form of government, the executives or the council of ministers is part of the legislature. Okay, children. So this is what is parliamentary form of government, where the executives are there. Executive means the body which implements laws and runs the administration of the country, and or the council of minister They are the part of legislature. Okay, children. So they are the part of legislature. Now, what is the meaning of legislature here? Means lawmaking body. Now, who is the lawmaking body? Children, you've already revised in the previous chapter. In our country, the parliament is the lawmaking body. Who is the lawmaking body? The parliament. And who will implement the law? The executives. So the parliament is the lawmaking body, which means that the parliament is the union legislature. Okay, children. Now, in India, in our country, the Prime Minister and other ministers are responsible to the Lok Sabha for their act. And the president has to act on the advice of the Council of Ministers. Okay, children. So here, I'm going to share the screen with you. You also please follow up, children. Here, this is the chapter we will revise today, and we take the new words to remember. As the name of the chapter is Civics Chapter 3, the state government. So we are going to learn about the new words. Union territory. The first word is union territory. Territory that is directly administered by the central government. It may or may not have its legislature. Second word is ordinance. What is the word? Ordinance. Ordinance, an ordinance has the same force as an act of parliament. Same force as an act of parliament means the law of parliament. You know, so many acts we have. So an ordinance also has the same force as an act of parliament or state legislature. It is issued when the parliament or the state legislature is not in session. Okay, children. When ordinances have been approved by the parliament or the state legislature, they become permanent laws. President and governor may issue ordinances. So, in this, at the state level, governor is there, and country level, president is there. So, they may issue ordinances. Now, the next word we have is money bill. The bill that is related to income or expenditure of the state is known as money bill. Budget. What is budget? Budget estimates of income and expenditure during a financial year. Next word is ordinary bill. The bill which is not a money bill. Okay, children. The bill which is not a money bill is known as ordinary bill. Now comes the next word, immunization, which is very important here today, presently. Immunization means creating resistance against diseases through vaccination and inoculation. You understood, children? Like presently, people are taking the vaccination for coronavirus, you know, to prevent the disease. So it is the same here. Immunization means creating resistance against diseases through vaccination and inoculation. Now the next word is state bicameral legislature. State legislature which has two houses. Usually they have one, but some have two houses. So the Vidhan Sabha or the lower house and the Vidhan Parishad or the upper house. It is known as state bicameral legislature. Means by means two. The Vidhan Sabha or the lower house and the Vidhan Parishad or the upper. Okay, children. So we have here now our constitution describes India as a union of states. So what are we going to learn in this chapter? In this chapter, we are going to learn about the state government, its powers and functions. So as we start with the introduction again, that is, our constitution describes India as a union of state. That means all the states are joined together under central government, and our country India is an integral whole. Okay, children. And the state are autonomous and free to manage their affairs in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. We have adopted parliamentary form of government. We have adopted parliamentary form of government. Now, what is parliamentary government? I have explained it to you just now. What is parliamentary government? Parliamentary government is where the executives are there, council of ministers are there. So in a parliamentary form of government, the executives or the council of ministers is part of the legislature. That means lawmaking body. And who is the lawmaking body? The lawmaking body is, in our country, is the parliament, which means that the parliament is the union legislature. And in our country, in India, the prime minister and other ministers are responsible to the Lok Sabha for their act. And the president has to act on the advice of Council of Ministers. Okay, children. So hence the pattern of administration of the states is the same. So how do we administer in our states? Pattern is the same. How is it the same? Each state has a legislature, a governor, and the council of ministers headed by the chief minister. Okay, children. Each state has a legislature, a governor, and the council of ministers headed by the chief minister. Okay, children. So now we will be learning about the powers and functions of the state government, which is the Vidhan Sabha or Legislative Assembly, and the Vidhan Parishad or the State Legislative Council. So the powers have been distributed between center and states by the Constitution. Accordingly, the state legislature can make laws on subjects given in the state list. Okay, children, as you know, we have three lists. The central list is there, that is a union list, state list, and concurrent list. So here in these three lists, public welfare work, national importance work is divided within these three lists. So that also I will explain it to you. Like in the union list, we have the work which the government has to do, that is the national importance work. For example, national defense, foreign affairs, banking, communication, and related to currency. So this work is done or managed or seen by the union list. And second list is the state list, where the state government has to work on that. They have 66 subjects, means 66 departments are there. So here I will tell you In the state list, it is a list of subjects of state and local importance. These include police, trade, commerce, agriculture, and irrigation. The law relating to these subjects can be made only by the state government. Okay, children. Then we have the third list, that is concurrent list. Since here we have this word state list, so I thought let me explain to you about the all three lists, which is very important because the state legislatures can make laws on subjects given in the state list. Now, the third list is the concurrent list. Concurrent list where the central government and state government, they have to work together with cooperation. Okay. So, in this list, what are the welfare work? What are the departments? So, the concurrent list contains subjects of common interest to both the union as well as the states. These include education, forest, trade unions, marriages, divorces, adoption, and succession. The law relating to these subjects can be made by both the central and state government. Both have to work together. Okay. So, this was the third list. So, some of these subjects are in the state list, as I told you just now, I am repeating: agriculture, land revenue, irrigation, law and order, and Panchayati Raj or local government. The state legislature can also make laws on 47 subjects given in the concurrent list. So, in the concurrent list, there are 47 subjects, which include subjects like education, marriage, divorce, adoption, newspapers, etc. But the state laws on these subjects will be valid. Here, this is a very important note. But the state laws on these subjects will be valid as long as they do not go against the central laws on the same subjects. Okay, children. So when they are working together in the concurrent list, making the laws, the state government cannot go against the central laws on the same subjects. Okay, children. So now we will be reading in detail about the state legislature. So, what is state legislature? The law-making powers in the states are vested in the state legislatures. Most of the states have only one house, that is the Legislative Assembly. Okay, children, or the Vidhan Sabha. Assembly means Sabha. Okay, children. So here, other have two houses, the Vidhan Sabha or Legislative Assembly, that is the lower house, and the Vidhan Parishad or Legislative Council, that is the upper house. Some of these states having bicameral legislature. As we mentioned, we have learned this word, bicameral legislature. So here it is that how many states have bicameral legislature? So these states are Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, and also we have this Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, and Telangana and Uttar Pradesh. Okay, children. So a legislature which has only one house is called unicameral legislature. So you know unicameral legislature and bicameral legislature. So unicameral legislature means Some of the states having only one house, that is unicameral legislature, and where some of the states having bicameral legislature, these are Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Telangana, and Uttar Pradesh. Okay, children. So now we will learn about the Vidhan Sabha or Legislative Assembly. The Vidhan Sabha or Legislative Assembly. What it is? The Vidhan Sabha is the lower house of the state legislature. It consists of members who are directly elected on the basis of adult franchise. Okay, children. You understood? They are directly elected and people have to vote for them by the basis of adult franchise. Now, the strength depends upon the population of the concerned states. But there cannot be more than 500 members in a legislative assembly. It also cannot have less than 60 members at any time. Okay, children. So now the most important topic which we are going to revise here is, in order to be elected a member of legislative assembly, what qualifications one should have. So, in order to be elected as a member of the legislative assembly, one should have the following qualifications. What are these qualifications? First is, he or she should be an Indian citizen. Second point is, she or he should not be less than 25 years of age. So the person has to be a citizen of India, not less than 25 years of age. And third qualification is, she or he should not hold any office of profit. That means they should not hold a post in the government department. They should not have a post in government job. Okay, children. And fourth qualification and the last one is, their names should be in the voters list. Okay, children. So here, now the next topic is what we are going to learn about, that how are the members of Vidhan Sabha elected. You can see here the Vidhan Sabha House of Rajasthan. Now here we are going to learn about how are the members of Vidhan Sabha elected. So for the purpose of elections, the state is divided into a number of electoral areas or constituencies. Any candidate may contest election from any of the constituencies, but members of SCs and STs alone can contest elections from reserved constituencies. So the constituencies for SCs and STs are reserved. No other candidate can be a contestant over there. The elections are conducted by the Election Commission. Who is important here? The Election Commission conducts the elections. On the day of polling, the citizens who are 18 years of age and above and whose names are included in the voters list cast their vote. The candidate getting the highest number of votes is declared elected by the returning officer. Okay, children. So this is how the members of Vidhan Sabha are elected. Now we go to the next procedure of the administration, that is presiding officers. What is the duty of presiding officers, or how many presiding officers are there here? So the members elect a person from amongst themselves as the speaker and another as deputy speaker to preside over the house and conduct its proceedings. Okay, children. So, a speaker is elected and also a deputy speaker is elected. Now comes the duration of the house. For how long this Vidhan Sabha will last? Here, after one election. So, the duration is for 5 years. So, duration of Vidhan Sabha, the normal duration of the Legislative Assembly is 5 years. However, the governor may dissolve the house before its term is over on the request of the chief minister. Dissolve means then officially, dissolving means it is an official act of ending the Vidhan Sabha. Okay, children. So officially when they have to end, that could be done only over on the request of the chief minister. Okay. Now it may also be dissolved earlier. How? If the president's rule is proclaimed in the state. So in case of any emergency, president rule is proclaimed in that particular state, then also it may be dissolved earlier before it completes the 5 years tenure. Its term may be extended during emergency, okay? But the new assembly must be elected within 6 months of the termination of emergency. Okay, children. So you understood duration is for 5 years of Vidhan Sabha. Now we come to the next topic, that is functions of the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly. So here we are going to learn about the functions of the Speaker. The first function of the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly is the Speaker presides over the meetings of the Legislative Assembly and maintains order in the House. Second function is he allocates time for various items on the agenda. He also allows members to speak on various subjects. Subjects, you know, which are mentioned in the state list, union list, and concurrent list. All the speeches are addressed to the chair, to the speaker. Then the third function is he decides whether a bill is a money bill or an ordinary bill. Fourth function of the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly is if any member misbehaves. See, discipline, children, is very important everywhere, whether you are at home, in school, or outside your house, everywhere we have to be disciplined. So here also, same thing is there, that if any member misbehaves, he may name him for suspension. Fifth function is he decides the admissibility of questions and all the resolutions, problems and solutions, questions and the resolutions. Okay. Sixth function is he signs the bill before it is sent to the Legislative Council or to the governor for his assent. Seventh function is he appoints chairman of all committees of the House. And the eighth function is he receives all communications addressed to the House. Okay, children. So these were the functions of the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly. Now we have the next topic, that is the Vidhan Parishad or the State Legislative Council. So children, so far we have completed the Vidhan Sabha or Legislative Assembly. and the powers and functions of the speaker. Now we are going to revise about the Vidhan Parishad or the State Legislative Council. So the state of Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Telangana and Uttar Pradesh have bicameral legislature. Okay, children. A state having a bicameral legislature has the Legislative Council or Vidhan Parishad as its upper house. Okay. So Vidhan Parishad as its upper house and Vidhan Sabha as its lower house. Okay. Now, in order to be a member of Legislative Council, what qualification a person must have? So, a person should be, the first qualification is that a person should be what? Very important. Just now we have learned in the previous topic. A person should be a citizen of India. Second qualification is that a person should be of 30 years of age or above. Third qualification is a person should not hold any office of profit. Means he should not work in any of the government departments. Fourth qualification for to be a member of Vidhan Parishad is that a person should have her or his name in the voters list. So these are the four most qualifications that a person must have to be a member of Legislative Council. Now, what is the composition? Composition of Vidhan Parishad means how are the members of Vidhan Parishad elected? Okay, children. Composition means how are the members of Vidhan Parishad elected? So, the basis of the composition of the council is as follows. So, how are the members of Vidhan Parishad elected? Now, we will be revising the answer. So, first point is, how are they elected? 1/3 of the members are elected by members of the Legislative Assembly of that state. Follow, children. So, all those which are already there, members of Legislative Assembly, those members, 1/3 of the members. How many members they will elect? About 1/3 of the members will be elected by the members of Legislative Assembly of that particular state. Okay, children. Now we come to the second composition. 1/3 of the members are elected by local bodies like municipalities, corporations, etc. Followed. Again, 1/3 by the members of Legislative Assembly. Now, 1/3 members will be elected by local bodies. Next, third composition is 1/12 of the members are elected by graduates of more than 3 years standing. Fourth composition is 1/12 of the members are also elected by the teachers engaged in teaching in educational institutions not lower than secondary schools. Okay, children. And the last composition is the remaining 1/6 of the members are nominated by the governor. They should be such persons who have distinguished themselves in the fields of art, science, literature, and social service. For example, so many member of parliaments are there? No. Those who are distinguished themselves means those who are leading in famous and we are proud of them. These people in the fields of art, science, literature, and social science. Okay, children. Now we have the next topic, tenure of office. Again, what is the tenure of Vidhan Parishad? So for how many years it will last? So tenure of the office of Vidhan Parishad. The Vidhan Parishad has the tenure of 6 years. Okay, children. It is a permanent body and the term of office of a member of Vidhan Parishad is 6 years. 1/3 of its members retire every second year. And an equal number of members are elected in their place. Okay, children. Now we come to the presiding officers. Who are the presiding officers here? The members of the Vidhan Parishad elect one person from amongst themselves as the chairman and another as the deputy chairman to preside over its sessions. Okay, children. So now we have the next topic, that is powers and functions of the state legislature. Powers and functions of the Vidhan Parishad or state legislature. So what are the powers and functions? The first function is the state legislature make laws on the 66 subjects given in the state list and 47 subjects given in the concurrent list. But a state law on concurrent subject can be declared ineffective if it goes against a central law on the same subject. Second part and function of the state legislature or Vidhan Parishad is it passes the money bill and the budget. The legislative assembly alone has the power to originate money bill. Third function is it may approve the ordinance which have been issued by the governor when the legislative assembly is not in session. Okay, children, ordinance I had explained to you all means a same type of act or law which is passed in the parliament. So it may approve the ordinances which have been issued by the governor when the legislative assembly is not in session. Fourth function is some articles of the constitutions can be amended, means can be improved, can be changed for the betterment of the people, for the benefit of the people. So some articles of the constitution can be amended only with the consent of state legislature. Okay, children. Now the fifth function is it exercises control over the executives. These are Council of Ministers through questions and criticism of its wrong policies. So this is the most important function. It exercises control over the executive. These are Council of Ministers through questions and criticism of its wrong policies. It can move an adjournment motion, call attention motion, and a motion of no confidence. But the ministers are responsible only to the legislative assembly. So these are the three motions they can pass: adjournment, call attention, and no confidence. But the ministers are responsible only to the legislative assembly. Okay, children. So these are the 5 powers and functions of the state legislature. So we have completed, children, the state legislature, Vidhan Parishad and Vidhan Sabha, both the powers and functions of Vidhan Sabha, the powers and functions of Vidhan Parishad. Now we come to the next topic, that is passage of ordinary bills by state legislature. Okay, children, passage of ordinary bill by state legislature. So how is the ordinary bill passed by state legislature? Ordinary bills can be introduced in any of the houses. Ordinary bill can be introduced means to discuss about. Before it becomes an act, it has to be discussed. So during the discussion, it can be introduced in any of the houses, the Vidhan Sabha or the Parishad. Okay, even any of the houses means there are two houses, Vidhan Sabha, that is, and another is Vidhan Parishad. So any one of them, they can introduced in any of the houses. Okay. They can be introduced by either a minister or any other member. So this is the passage of ordinary bill by state legislature. Any of the houses can introduce the ordinary bill. Now, as we go further, we read in detail that there are three stages involved in the passage of a bill. So when a bill has to be passed, it has to go through three stages. We call them three readings of a bill. What do we call them? These three stages are known as three readings of a bill. The first reading covers the introduction of the bill. The members introducing the bill explain the need to introduce it. Means what is the importance of this bill? For what purpose it will be implemented for people, and for what reason, what importance it has. Now we come to the second reading. Okay, there are three readings now. So the second reading consists of a general discussion on the bill in the house. All the members, they have a general discussion in the second reading. First reading, what happens? It is introduction of the bill. Then second reading, general discussion on the bill. And the house may refer it to the select committee. The committee presents its report to the house. The house then considers the bill clause by clause. Step by step, the house considered the bill. The house goes to the bill. Then follows the third reading of the bill. If it is passed, the speaker sends it to the Vidhan Parishad, if any. What happens in the third reading? Then follows the third reading of the bill. And what happens? If it is passed, the speaker sends it to the Vidhan Parishad, if any. In the Vidhan Parishad, the bill passes through the same procedure. Then the bill goes to Vidhan Parishad. Okay. And here it passes through the same procedure. If the Vidhan Parishad passes the bill, it is sent to the governor for his assent and it becomes a law. In case the bill is rejected by the Legislative Council, or another reason is a period of more than 3 months lapse without the bill being passed by it. And also the bill is passed with amendments to which the assembly does not agree. The assembly may pass the bill again. Okay, children, this is very important. If the bill is passed with amendments to which the assembly does not agree, if the assembly is not ready, then what happens? Assembly may pass the bill again. Now it becomes obligatory for the Vidhan Parishad to consider the bill within 30 days. Okay, children. And if 30 days pass, by, or the bill is rejected by the council, that is Vidhan Parishad, it is considered as passed by both the houses and it is sent to the governor for his assent. So you understood, children, that if assembly does not agree, then assembly may pass the bill again. But if council does not agree, it hardly matters. It is considered as passed by both the houses and is sent to the governor for his assent. After the governor signs the bill, it becomes an act or a law. The governor may not give his assent or may send the bill back to the legislature for reconsideration. He may also reserve the bill for the consideration of the president, in which case it can become an act only when the president assents to it. Now we have the next topic, that is passage of money bills. So there are two bills, ordinary bills and money bills, and it goes through 3 readings. So now we have completed the revision of ordinary bill, and this topic is passage of money bill. How is a money bill passed? So far as a money bill is concerned, it can originate only in the Vidhan Sabha. You understood, children? So Vidhan Sabha has more power than the Vidhan Parishad because money bill can be introduced only in Vidhan Sabha. It is introduced by a minister with governor's consent. After the money bill is passed by the Vidhan Sabha, it is sent to the Vidhan Parishad. The Vidhan Parishad has to return the bill within 14 days. If it is not returned within 14 days, it is considered as passed by the houses and is sent to the governor for his assent. Okay, children. So now we have revised about the passage of money bill. Now the next topic we will read in the next turn. Okay, children. So in this chapter today, the state government, we have understood what our constitution describes India as a union of state. Why? We have adopted parliamentary form of government. What is parliamentary form of government? This also we have learned today. And also we have learned about the administration of state legislature, the Vidhan Sabha or legislative assembly, and the Vidhan Parishad or the state legislative council. And we have also learned about the powers and functions of the Vidhan Sabha or the legislative assembly, and powers and functions of the Vidhan Parishad or the state legislative council. At the same time, we have also revised the passage of ordinary bill and the passage of money bill. Okay, children. So this is all for today. Thank you for watching. I will see you or we will meet in the next class. Till then, take care, stay safe, and keep smiling. Bye, children.